Jason, I think I'm ready to join Raider Nation.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great news. That's great. I mean, it beats being with Kenny in that franchise.
Wow. I didn't say anything. That's what we talking about, Damien. I didn't say nothing about Raider Nation, but Raider Nation always coming at the Niners. We know what it is. JV don't like varsity. We know.
I wasn't coming at whatever you guys call yourselves. I was just saying that given that he works with you on a regular basis, Raider Nation would be a much finer alternative than hanging out with you. I mean, calm down. No one's thinking about you guys like that. Like, I know you guys like to believe that we're all worried about the Niners. No, not like that.
It's true. You guys are. Hey, look, I deal with these Raider fans on a daily basis, and I say something nice about the Raiders. I say, hey, I think they can win a division. They're legit, whatever the case may be. And then I come back, and my poor little team, I think they have some talented players. And I'm like, yo, the Niners might be good. Oh, Homer Caraway, you need to be talking about them Raiders. What?
I didn't say that.
That's what your cronies in the chatty house are saying.
Don't lump me in with the timeline fans and the ones who don't lump me in with them. No, I have a little bit of sense. I mean, but I'm not the one who. I mean, as long as you're not one of those folks who keep on hyping up Trey Lance practice video, like, oh my God, see, we told you, like, right down.
Hey, I'll be hyping. I always say just like this. I know everybody trying to say you're gonna be bad. I think the floor for Trey is Jimmy, and I just always ask the question because people like the Jason Joneses, like the Raider Nation. They always talk about, hey, Trey might not be that good, and I say, okay, well, what if he is good? How about that? Don't nobody ever want to talk about that. What if he is good?
I mean, I don't think that's really a discussion because according to the Niner media, he's already just a shade under Joe Montana. I've never seen so many, well, what a great practice he had, tweets and reports in my life. Like, oh my, no one who was great in practice? DeMarcus Russell was outstanding in practice.
Oh.
And I'm not calling Trey DeMarcus, I'm just saying, kid, we just, all of media in general, type down on the, he's so great in practice.
Yeah, I don't like practice stats.
I mean, if I see one more tweet, he was 14 for 18 with 2.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
I'm like, when I see people do things like that, I say, you're proving the stereotype that sports writers are geeks with no lives. Like, really? That's what we're doing? We're taking
I don't like practice stats.
We're taking 7-on-7 stats. That's what we're really doing.
Yeah, I don't like practice stats.
Can we let Trey play, 17 games before we put him in the Hall of Fame?
Now, I will say this. To be fair to all those in 49ers media, they did the same. They've done the same thing for like the last 3 training camps. They did it with Jimmy. They did it with Jimmy when he was throwing 5 picks in a row, and they be like, oh, he threw 5 picks in a row. Niners went to the Super Bowl that year. So
that's what I'm saying, like, yeah. Oh, Jimmy's terrible. Oh my God, they're in the Super Bowl. But you remember back in August? Oh my God, he was awful. Like, come on, let's just let's all as fans and media be better. Let's not, But then again, we're in a world now where people actually, in their free time, watch the NFL Combine, which I will never understand. I will never understand. Like, if you're not being paid, why would you watch that?
Oh, you could pay me and I ain't gonna watch it. Yeah, that is not my bag. Anyways, the point was, I really like your football team this year, and I'm a little invested in them. It turns out I couldn't root for your previous coach. I think I can root for this one. I like Derek Carr. Really like Devontae Adams. I think I can root for this team, man. I like it. It's a tough division, and I just wanted to share that with you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and trust me, I couldn't root for the previous coach either before the email stuff. I was just like, I did not like the hire. I told everyone I didn't like it. I knew that with John Gruden running things, the draft would become a joke. And you look at their draft under John Gruden, they're a bunch of jokes.
It's kind of as we switch gears here, I want to get your thoughts on KD in a minute and the Brooklyn Nets stuff, but I was telling KC this, and I think he's starting to catch up. There's like a bit of a Laker overload right now between Winning Time and They Call Me Magic, and now this 10-part Hulu series.
That's 10 parts?
It's 10 parts.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
but here's the thing. I've watched the first 2 episodes. It's really good. Like, it's different than the other 2. Like, there's certainly some overlapping similarities, but I think the start of it, at least from what I've seen, the start of this Hulu doc on the Lakers is because it has a heavy perspective from the Bus. Like, it's really the Bus family. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I wrote about last week before it came out, and then that was when I got the screeners for the first 5 episodes last month, and I was like, to me as a Lakers fan, I'm like, what really can you tell me that I don't already know? But getting the family, like especially the family members who never talk.
Yeah,
like I forget Jeannie has another sister.
Right.
Yeah. And the young guy, who was the young guy with the Laker Mitchell and Ness jacket? I never seen him.
Yeah. There's 2 younger ones. You forget about the oldest brother. I mean, we pretty much only hear about Jeannie and Jim. Jeannie because everyone pretty much knew that Jeannie was a star in terms of being an executive, and Jim because no one liked him.
Yeah.
So I think to me that's the most interesting thing, and I'm not going to spoil it if you're only on episode 2, but as you get through it, you're like, wow. You see some of the family infighting and the jealousy that pops up amongst the siblings over, well, how come Dad picked you? And, that's not fair. And then you hear one of the brothers saying, I don't know why Jeannie was mad. I was older. So to me, that's the best part. It's just that you're getting that because I was like, how are you going to make this different? Like, just how do you make it different? I thought They Called Me Magic was like, blah. I was like,
yeah,
I love Magic Johnson, but are we really going to skip over every time they lost in the playoffs? It was like, we won the championship. Fast forward to 1982. Fast forward to 1985. It's like, okay, hold up.
And he really didn't do the hard-hitting stuff either. Like, it was kind of like implied, but not really discussed.
Yeah, they really missed a great opportunity, I think, when they got into the whole Cookie, what did you know about how he was living?
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm like, okay, here comes the good stuff. And it was like, oh, well, I was in Chicago. I was like, okay, I was like, no, we want to know how you felt knowing that you were off again, on again, engaged, dating arguably the best player in the world, and the whole world knew that he was getting around like Tupac.
Yeah.
Like, how did you, what was going on in your mind?
Yeah.
But they just kind of glossed over it. Like, yeah, Magic had a lot of women. Like,
that's essentially what they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they got married. It's
my pool parties.
My parties were off the chain, and I've heard about the Magic Johnson parties, and they didn't scratch the surface of what I've heard about Magic Johnson parties.
Yeah, I think some of that stuff you can't say on television.
Yeah,
I think some of that stuff is incriminating.
You got to distort the voices. And
yeah. So, truthfully, some of that stuff is a bit dark.
Yeah.
Let's tuck that away.
It was the 80s. It was the 80s in LA.
That was a wild time. That was a wild time. I'm only on the first episode of the Hulu thing, but I like it. Ironically enough, like I wish they could kind of put them together. But I like the Hulu doc right after I watch Winning Time. Right.
Yeah.
I see, like when they talked about unfortunately, I'm not smiling about this, but the Tark's agent that was going to have him come from UNLV to the Lakers. And they talked about, that in real life and what happened. And I don't know. It's certainly, and then maybe because they didn't have to do it this way. Like it could have been you could have just talked to somebody, but it sure sounds like the mobsters didn't want Tark leaving. And that's what kind of led to all that.
Yeah, and then you look at the way Winning Time covered it. It seems so dramatized that unless you actually knew the history, like that can't be real. Then you go to the Hulu doc, and it's like, oh yeah, I don't think they wanted him leaving. And then with agents found in the trunk. It's like, what?
That's
It's
crazy.
imagine if that happens like nowadays with the way the media and everything is. I mean, they found the agent of the coach in a trunk dead.
That is nuts.
That is just wild.
Wow. That
For the
is
record,
nuts.
there was no business card tucked into the blanket or whatever he was rolled up in. That was a dramatization on winning time. That was not real.
I mean, you didn't need that. I mean, the fact
No,
that he
you
was
really
dead
didn't.
the fact that he was dead was enough.
But I guarantee you what it did is it sent a lot of people to the computer. Like, hold up, wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute, because I thought I had heard like a semblance of that story. I didn't like. They really put a Cherry Bus business card
That's
in
crazy.
it? No, they didn't. Yeah, good storytelling though. It's a TV show, right? It's like the opening scene of episode number 2. It's storytelling.
Yeah, imagine sitting by Norm Nixon like I was a few weeks ago. After watching that, I was like, I'm glad to know you really didn't play Magic Johnson in your street clothes at a party.
Are you surprised the Kevin Durant Brooklyn Nets saga is over?
No, I'm not. Just because Rudy Gobert messed it up for everybody.
Mm.
That trade, I mean...
Well, it's not Rudy's fault.
I mean,
we're all blaming stuff on Rudy.
Again.
Not Rudy himself. Let's just say the Minnesota Timberwolves did.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, poor Rudy just gets strays and collateral damage just for being Rudy. I mean, informer players on podcasts that would go in on him. I mean, poor Rudy. I mean, they made fun of him for crying, for missing the All-Star game that one year, whatever. But
that was a little funny.
I mean, it was because Draymond wouldn't let him, wouldn't let him go of it. Or KC's favorite NBA player, Draymond Green.
No, is he a superstar? Is the question.
Oh God. I've always said superstar is the most overused, term in sports, and no, it's not. I agree. Not. Yeah, but that's okay. Don't let that stop. It's August. We need something to talk about on Twitter.
Yes,
that's exactly.
I just think. I mean, then you start looking at all these deals that were getting leaked out of who wouldn't be included. To me, the funniest was Memphis. Like, you're not going to give up Desmond Bain? Like, are you kidding me? I was like, just say you don't want him. What do you mean? When that gets leaked out, we would love to get KD in Memphis, but they can't have Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. I mean, just say that there was too much, that you didn't want to give up the 7-8 picks. Don't say that Desmond Bain stopped you.
Right.
I mean, that to me that was the funniest of them all, and I just think this kind of reminded me of what the Kobe deal back in 2007, where he was frustrated with the organization, except that Kobe hadn't handpicked the coach and the GM and then said fire both of them. I mean, I said that KD didn't pick the GM, but the GM did his bidding and hired the coach he wanted. And he's like, oh yeah, fire that GM and the coach. I would have loved to have been in that meeting yesterday and just see how Kevin's looking at them and how Steve and Sean Marks must feel like. Man, but
let's just go back and try to win a championship, guys. Let's just go try to win.
So how you think that works, Jason? Like, how does that work going on opening day of training camp?
Is Josh Vaughn still on staff? If he is, I think John will be the guy who talks to people I mean, Steve has always been a class guy. Everyone loves Steve Nash, but I don't know how you don't take that personally. Like, how do you don't take some of that personally when it's like your boy Kyrie was the one who didn't want to get vaccinated? It's like, you guys wanted your boy James Harden here, and then he wanted out. Then we trade for a guy who says after game 2, I'll play in game 4 when we're down 2-0. It's like, what? Like, say what you want about Steve as a coach. Some of this stuff is not his fault. So, it's just, I mean, to me, it's about one of the biggest messes I've seen in the NBA in quite some time. I thought the Lakers were a mess, but no, that Brooklyn thing to me, is just bizarre. Like, Kyrie just was like, I'm not going to play. I'm not getting that shot. I'm going to go be a politician and, do everything.
Martyr.
Be brave. You got to be brave.
Yeah. He's going to the voice for the voiceless. He's the CM Punk of the NBA. For all of those who can't speak, Kyrie will speak for you.
And look, Jason, for all of that said, and you're right. I understand everything you're saying. Even with all that, they're still one of the contenders to win a championship. Do you agree?
Oh yeah. And that's the reason why you see if you're Sean Marks, you're like, I'll just wait this out, and you just tell KD, if we do trade you, because you got to remember, KD's got 4 more years on his deal. You're gutting the team you're sending him to, and then like even like that Phoenix idea, we'll package Mikal Bridges. Come on, and I like Bridges, but come on, KD, and come on, there was nothing out there that they was going to be realistic.
Yeah.
So you know what, KD, get out your feelings or whatever. Tell your boy Kyrie to be ready to play from day one, and and you probably shouldn't be getting swept again in the playoffs next year. I mean, they've got a chance. If KD was a shoe size smaller, they might have been in the finals in 2021.
Yeah, I thought they were going to win it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, there's it was just weird that, like I said, after you picked the coach, you know what? Fire him and the GM. Like, fire the GM after free agency. Come on, man.
A bit odd timing. The professor, Jason Jones, we appreciate you as always, my man. Thank you.
No problem. An update. Apparently, my computer should be on the way sometime relatively soon, they tell me.
So that's what the shipping notice said, huh? Shipping notice from the Athletic. Sometime relatively soon.
Yeah, word on the street is laptops are being sent out. So
you know what, Jason? We're supposed to be moving into our new studio sometime relatively soon too.
Hey, but I will be in Sac next week for Kendrick Lamar. So hey,
figured.
What'll happen first? The studio, Kendrick Lamar, or my laptop?
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar first.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. So all right, y'all take care.
We appreciate